Hello. So, I've been seeing a lot of Resident Evil gaming YouTubers talking about the recent leak slash rumor about the possibility of Resident Evil 9 being open world. This rumor stems from posts of Dusk Golem. Their posts are talked about a lot. Now, some have found to be right, some are close to it, and then some are, just they never came to be. I don't really know about this person. Don't exactly even know where exactly to see their posts. Um, I don't I don't really know how to keep up with everything, and I don't want to be consumed by too many social media sites. This is a lot of this is like just for fun. So some people do take Dusk Golem's word as like a gospel, so to speak, and others are kind of speculative. I definitely fall into the second category. I know nothing for sure about this person, their background and how they get to know the things that they claim to know. But I do, however, find them to be incredibly useful in fueling the creativeness of the slush of gray matter in my head. A lot of what I talk about is just my personal opinions, even when I try to remain unbiased. But that's okay, I think, because that's what makes a lot of these gaming channels unique. Everyone is or has been saying for a little while now that they think Resident Evil 9 is going to be, quote, huge. But I haven't always taken it to mean literally. I kind of took it to have a slightly different meaning, like a huge impact it's going to have on the gaming community. And just to be clear really quick, I'm not trying to be one of those fans that say if it deviates from anything remotely looking or sounding exactly like the game I first loved, then it's not Resident Evil and Capcom is now obsolete. I'm not saying anything of that sort. However, I do have some harsh criticisms, so to speak. I still love Resident Evil, and I do like a lot of the games that Capcom makes. But you can like something without liking everything. Like, you can like a music artist and not like all their songs, or like a song and not like a music artist. I have taken the whole hype of it's going to be a huge game to mean that it'll be a spectacle to be remembered for ages in the gaming world. That's kind of what I was leaning towards. But if it truly meant, you're gonna need a bigger computer to play this game, I don't know what to say about that then. Maybe that I'm screwed for now? I don't know. But yeah, does it belong in Resident Evil? My answer is a bit complicated. I say yes and no. I feel like open world concept for 9 sounds pretty cool if it is kept within like a certain limit. Like, 4 made you feel like you had plenty of space to explore, but it kept to the story. And I would kind of argue that the same feeling can kind of be found in 6 and 8. So like bigger maps have a sense of open world to them, but it doesn't allow so much open world as like, hey, open world is usually followed by useless side quests, and I don't want that to build up and kind of take away from Resident Evil. I fear too much open world can ruin 9. It can be stuff that takes away from the intended storyline, taken away from the horror, and in the end it will take away from the deepening crisis we were left to ponder on at the end of 8. However, things like the little merchant missions of 4, I think, are exceptionally well placed. They don't do too much to take away from what the main focus is. I am intrigued by open world for sure, but I don't want it to distract me. Something I love about Resident Evil is that it is usually kept in a limited type of space. It pushes the feeling that you need to keep moving forward and stay on the narrow path of the story because the dangers are ever present. If this is how Capcom decides to go with open world, I wish them well, and I look forward to seeing the final project. But for now, I am a bit skeptical of how it could work well within the Resident Evil universe. Briefly jumping to another point before I end this. I heard someone mention another possible snippet of information saying that 9 could possibly be a 2-parter. Now, that is something I view with even more caution, just being honest. If 9 is going to be broken into like 2 parts, it needs to be good. Of course, that's a given for any, piece of art, but now any story that is broken up in parts leaves on a cliffhanger for sure, but I feel that if 9 is going to do that, it needs to earn it by being better than its predecessors. Of course, once again, that's kind of like a no-brainer, but 9 needs not only be better than 8 by a long shot, in my opinion, it needs to do better than the remake for 4. 4 is an exceptional piece of art, the original and the remake, whereas 8 was not so much. And I put here some of my somewhat summed up critiques of 8. 1. Chris is an idiot. Plain and simple, he and Mia are responsible for Ethan's suffering and demise. It still makes little sense to me why Chris acted the way he did. Yes, plenty of arguments have come forth about him being cautious, or at least that's how they all boil down to be, but I don't find any of them to be satisfactory. I hate the way Chris is made to be an 8, to the point that I feel he needs some type of redemption arc. Chris needs to have some type of inner monologue of regret that helps drive him in 9. I want to see him face his failings. Chris has had some good character development in the past, and if they gloss over it now, it'll have been for nothing, I think. 2. 8 hyped us up to believe we were getting more than we got. Once again, these are personal opinions, so please don't hate me, but I do welcome all of your comments. Yeah, there were plenty of cliffhangers that were not expected, but a cliffhanger does not equal greatness. The trailers, I feel, focused on a certain antagonist. You probably know who I'm talking about, the one whose name that everyone says differently. But that was the first one to be offed. Then the gameplay built up to this idea that a different road could be got to, or that we would be getting to, only to show that Ethan was a little stupid too. I totally understand his reservation about not wanting to team up with a person as deranged as Heisenberg, but he planned to take out all the lords anyways, so why not just deceive him and take him out later? Of course, that also makes me sound stupid, but I'm just saying, okay? Capcom built it up like it was gonna happen, and then swept the rug out from under players. Anyways, number 3. Cheap ending. Yeah, I said it. I think 8 had a cheap ending. The main characters that people know from Resident Evil could have been brought back without a certain death that I will forever be salty about. The urgency of time could have been felt without that death as well. I will admit the ending was the most shocking and unexpected part of the game, or even the whole franchise. Many fans have gotten used to the idea that they will make it out because the character they play as won't die or the story will end. It could be argued that the same feeling wasn't as strong in 8 because we know other people in the universe could just pick up the mantle or the pieces of the story and continue fighting. And no, I don't think, while I hated Ethan's character, as a valid excuse to accept his death. He was different, or even less than, compared to the main guys, even boring by some standards. But what made his character boring to others is kind of what I liked best about him. He hadn't spent the most of his life training and fighting like, say, Chris or Leon, Jill, or Claire, so I'd argue that the threat of death was always there for him. And he never felt invincible unless it was maybe plot armor. Anything in that department probably could have been handled better, but in the end, it came out alright. I think that's all I really have. I just wanted to make a quick stop and chat about the leak and how it leads into my ideas and thoughts of Resident Evil as a whole, especially the last few installments in the storyline. Yeah, I look forward to seeing where 9 goes. Whether or not we're going to hear anything about it this year or any other remakes, I'm still kind of excited to hear about that. So, thanks for watching. I hope you leave a comment, I welcome discussion. Just keep it civil, We can all have our own biased opinions. Let's just be nice. Anyways, I hope you if you liked, leave a comment whether or not you liked it. And if you want to see more of this or my really terrible gameplay, you can subscribe. Have a great day. Have a great night. Best wishes. Bye.